Hey guys, Mac here. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into exactly how much it costs to live on the road. Why am I qualified to dispense such information? Well, at this rate, we've been living on the road for 4 years now and have had an equal number of vehicles. We found that the cost of vehicles drastically affects the cost of day-to-day life on the road. Being that we've experienced both the high end and the low end, I wanted to give you a really good idea of what the full spectrum looks like. Through this video, I'll be listing off all the different costs of living, and at the end, we'll tally everything up so you can see what the grand totals come to. Let's start with the monthly operational costs. These are the things that I like to think of as completely unavoidable life things. Let's start with cell phones. Cell phones make so many aspects of day-to-day life easier, and that's even more so on the road. We also use our cell phones to hotspot from, which is amazing because it allows us to be a little bit more flexible in where we work during the week. We have a Verizon Unlimited plan, which is unfortunately not truly unlimited. We can hotspot for 15 gigabytes and then we get throttled. So in addition to each having our own cell phone plan, we also have a separate hotspot, which gives us an extra 15 gigabytes to hotspot from. In total, our cell phone bill comes to $170 a month. Next up, healthcare. Being that we're self-employed, it's up to us to get our own healthcare every year. In the past, we've tried sourcing our healthcare from anything from crowdsourcing style all the way to healthcare.gov. Our current plan, which is $90 a month, we got through healthcare.gov. Though it is a super basic healthcare plan, it really does meet all of our very little healthcare needs. In the past, we've paid as much as $500 a month for our healthcare, and in the end, we're really happy to have settled on a cheaper one that still meets all of our needs. Groceries. Owen and I really love to maintain a healthy diet while on the road. So that being said, we typically make most of our food from the rig on a day-to-day basis. So we buy a lot of groceries. On a weekly basis, we spend roughly $120 a week for groceries for the both of us, which totals $480 for the month. That brings the total of all of our day-to-day life costs to $740 a month. Eating out. One of the best parts about traveling is having the opportunity to check out local food scenes. How much we eat out truly depends on where we are and who we're with. Looking at recent months, we spend roughly $150 a month eating out. There are also additional expenses such as museums, going to the gym, parks, things of that nature, and those things typically average about $100 a month for us. Now, let's move into the more flexible and varying items. Your vehicle choice will greatly impact the cost of living for day-to-day life out on the road. For example, there are multi-million-dollar rigs, such as this one, and super minimalist cheap builds, like this one. For the sake of example, we will be using our own personal rigs to price out to illustrate the two ends of the spectrum. Let's start with our cheapest rig, which was our 2008 Toyota Tacoma. We purchased the truck for $13,000. It came with a camper shell and a roof rack, which left us just to do a $400 build on the interior. Over the 9 months that we lived in this vehicle, we spent just $340 on a new master cylinder and a few oil changes. So that brings the grand total to $13,740. When we went to sell the Tacoma, it sold for $12,500. So using those numbers to calculate the cost of ownership, the total comes to $137 a month. On the other end of the spectrum is our current vehicle. We are now driving a 2019 Toyota Tundra with a flatbed four-wheel camper. In addition to purchasing those two things, we also did a lot of edits to the truck for the off-road capability. And the grand total of this vehicle was $100,000. Just so you know, we did take out two separate loans, one for the truck and one for the camper. Because we still own this vehicle, we don't have a sale price to make the same calculations that we did with our Tacoma. But for the sake of argument, let's say hypothetically we sold it tomorrow for $90,000. We've now been living in this vehicle for 13 months, so using those numbers, comes to a grand total of $769 per month cost of ownership. Insurance is another factor that completely depends on your vehicle. For instance, our Tacoma was just $56 a month to insure. For our current setup, it's a little bit different. The only way to properly insure this setup is to have a separate policy, one for the truck and one for the camper. Our truck's insurance is $97 a month, and our camper is $57 a month, bringing the grand total to $154 a month to insure our current setup. Something else that should be taken into consideration is the cost of upkeep for your vehicle. For instance, our current rig, which was expensive upfront, costs virtually nothing to maintain from the road. And the reason being is just about everything is under warranty, including our oil changes. On the other end of our spectrum is our first vehicle, which was a Volkswagen Vanagon. Though we paid just $7,000 when we purchased it, we knew that we were going to have to put a lot of money in it to make it reliable. By the time we went to sell it, we had over $50,000 in that vehicle, and it still broke down regularly. Our Vanagon was also expensive to insure, and the reason was we had a state your value policy to be sure that we were covering all of the upgrades that we had done to the vehicle. So that brings our monthly cost of ownership to $1,150 a month. The cost of gas will always depend on your vehicle, as well as how fast you like to move from place to place. Though our current vehicle is the most inefficient, we also are moving slower than we ever have before. So our average cost of gas per month is roughly the same as it's always been, which is approximately $400 a month. I would be remiss if I didn't at least touch on the idea of budgeting. Budgets are great because they can help you keep an eye on how much money you're spending on a day-to-day basis. But I'll be totally honest with you and say that Owen and I don't keep a budget. The reason why we don't is we work full-time, and at the end of the day, we're living well within our means out here on the road. If we want to spend some extra money exploring the local food scene or even taking a trip away from our rig, we always want to give ourselves the space to do so. We're really lucky to have this freedom, and that is not lost on us. If you will not be working from the road and are starting with a set amount of money, budgeting is a great approach because it ensures that you are stretching that money as long as you possibly can. My advice to you, if you're wanting to go on the road and start traveling full time, is to start simple and to roll with what you got. Back in 2012, Owen and I started with just a Honda Element, a hand-me-down tent, and $6,000 to our name. We managed to travel for over 6 months on that. It gave us the opportunity to go out, have some incredible experiences that would go on to inform the way that we travel to this day. At the end of the day, everybody travels differently and places importance on different aspects of life. These examples are purely our own and will take some time to figure out for yourself, but we hope that this video can at least give you an idea of what a baseline could look like. If there are any topics you would like us to cover in the future, do not hesitate to toss them in the comments below because we love making videos that help you guys get out and find some adventure of your own. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more like this one. Thank you so much, and we'll see you down the road. That one tickled my nose.